I just stood there crying. That's when I knew that I had to do something.
Oh, I thought he would leave when I was walking off the floor in Philadelphia. I told Jimmy Cruz that I thought we had seen the last of Isiah Thomas as a player for us.
Detroit takes 6'1", 180 pounds, Isiah Thomas of the University of Indiana.
Drafted second overall by the Pistons, Thomas provided instant star power to a team that had won 21 games the previous season. Averaging 20 points and 8 assists over his first 2 seasons, the 6'1" point guard made Detroit respectable.
What a move by Isiah! He has lighted this place up.
He's a kid that could do whatever he wanted on the basketball court, just on pure talent. At first, Isiah was a little hesitant, taking instructions from a head coach, Scotty Robertson, at that time. I remember him, with his southern drawl saying, you can't do that. Somewhere along the line, that clicked, and he realized that as a point guard, I'm an extension of the coach.
Thomas made his first playoff appearance in 1984 after Chuck Daly took over as head coach. In their opening round series with the Knicks, the Pistons were down 8 points with under 2 minutes left in the deciding 5th game. Then Thomas took over.
Isiah Thomas coming back.
He was in a supernatural zone. I mean, it was just like summer leagues on the playground. I mean, he came up with every kind of shot that you could imagine a guy could come up with.
Isiah is within 36 seconds left.
New York was frustrated, thinking, we've done everything we can, and now we're letting one guy beat us.
Isiah, three-point attempt. He's got it. What time?
In an electrifying display of firepower, Thomas scored 16 points in the last 94 seconds, forcing an overtime which New York won. Undeterred, Thomas remained in the hunt for a championship.
When we used to be in the playoffs games in the Garden, I would see Isiah in the stands. He would be watching, listening, calculating.
He learned by hanging around the Lakers of the early 80s. He was in L.A. for every one of those games. And he was in our locker room. And he took it all in because he knew he was going to get there.
Here's Isiah. Let's see what we got. All the way up. Go!
In 1987, Isiah Thomas led a strong supporting cast, Bill Laimbeer, Adrian Dantley, and Joe Dumars, into the Eastern Conference Finals against the defending champion Celtics. Up by a point in Game 5, the Pistons were 5 seconds away from taking a 3-2 lead back to Detroit.
That was probably the best game that I had played in my pro career. I was really good that game.
It's blocked. And Seasting hit it off of a Detroit player. No. They're going to give the ball to Detroit.
When the ball went out of bounds, I remember the official standing there with the ball, and he started his count. And he got to 1, and he got to 2. And I panicked.
So as I was rising to call a timeout, he quickly threw the ball back toward their goal.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
What was so devastating about it is that I was the go-to guy for the Pistons. And that was the first mistake that I had ever made in a game like that. I was probably at the lowest moment that I had ever been in my basketball career. I just didn't know how I was going to come out of it.
In the locker room after losing to the Celtics in the 7th game, Pistons rookie Dennis Rodman dropped a bomb by saying that if Boston forward Larry Bird were black, he'd be considered just another good player.
Dennis at that time was, coming into his own. It was pure frustration. And naturally, Isiah, being the captain and team leader, backed his teammate.
But I'd have to agree with Rodman. If he was black, he'd be just another good guy.
The original response by Isiah was, I didn't say anything wrong. They really, in their hearts, did not think it was a big deal. And I was, man, this is a real big deal.
To snuff what had become a public relations blaze, Thomas flew to Los Angeles, where the Celtics were playing the Lakers for the title, and apologized publicly for his part in the slur against Bird.
The comments that were made the other night by me, I was joking about them.
We could all sort of understand Dennis Rodman saying it. He was a rookie, he was callow, he was unenlightened. Isiah Thomas was none of that. Isiah Thomas was shrewd, Isiah Thomas was smart.
In 1988, Thomas led Detroit past Boston and into the finals against Los Angeles, where he would duel the king of Showtime, Magic Johnson, an old friend and opponent in pickup games.
We were both the devil in disguise, and now here come two passionate guys about winning, but also good friends, playing against each other for the first time in the finals. It was tough.
They used to kiss before a game, but when Detroit became competitive and they went for a championship, that friendship ceased.
Thomas hit by Magic Johnson, and Magic went after him there with a forearm. That was a bad play by Magic Johnson.
Leading 3-2, the Pistons were ahead in the third quarter of Game 6. Thomas was on fire, scoring 14 points in less than 5 minutes.
Thomas hits a big one. Isiah Thomas is hurt down on the court underneath the basket.
I touched his ankle, and he hit me upside my head so hard. And it wasn't like he was upset at me that I touched his ankle as much as, son of a gun, you worked your entire career to get to this point, and what is this?
And we see right now that Isiah's coming back in the ballgame.
He was that guy that through broken bones or broken fingers or bruises or sprained ankles or sickness, he would still be out there competing at such a high level.
Thomas off balance, basket counts and a foul. He's limping on every play. He is just showing so much heart and determination.
Playing on a sprained ankle, Thomas scored another 11 in the third period, setting a finals record, 25 points in a quarter. He finished the game with 43, but it wasn't enough as the Lakers won 103-102.
It's over. We go to Game 7. A sensational individual effort by Isiah Thomas.
Then in Game 7, with the injured Thomas only able to play 28 minutes, the Pistons lost. Meanwhile, a bond between Thomas and team owner Bill Davidson was strengthening.
I remember when I first went there, I said, Bill, be careful about falling in love with players because things happen. He said, no, I love Isiah. And they were so close. We used to call Isiah his son.
When Adrian Dantley was traded to Dallas for Thomas's friend Mark Aguirre in early 1989, the point guard was said to be involved.
This trade here, circumstances surrounding it was so unusual. I just needed some time to sort things out.
There was personality conflicts between Isiah Thomas and Adrian Dantley. I was in the dressing room, and Adrian Dantley called me over, and he said, there's a lot of people here I don't like. And he said, he's the #1 guy. And he pointed right at Isiah. I don't like him, and you can print that.
All great players are locker room politicians. Isiah Thomas could certainly get rid of players. The difference was nobody was quite able to believe Isiah when he would claim otherwise.
I'm sure they asked him numerous times his opinion. I at no time ever heard him going and dictating to anybody what should be done. That was not his style.
The problem with Isiah was that he did have a political side to him. He was very strong in the union. He had a way of maneuvering behind the scenes that some people didn't like.
With Aguirre, the Pistons dominated the regular season and finished with 63 victories. In the playoffs, after sweeping Bird Celtics and Milwaukee, Thomas and the Pistons kept their eyes on the prize in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Jordan-led Bulls.
Isiah with a stutter step from the baseline.
After closing out the Bulls, Detroit faced the Lakers, who had gone 11-0 that postseason. But with Magic Johnson and Byron Scott injured, the Pistons powered to their first NBA title.
He's got the ball. He should have it. Isiah hangs onto the ball, flips it up to the Raptors. Detroit is the city of champions again.
The only accomplishment that mattered at that time was how many championships you won, and Bird and Magic would let you know that. That year, we beat Bird, Jordan, and Magic, slayed all of them. That was validation.
Thomas and the Bad Boys were back in the finals the next year, this time against Portland. Late in Game 1, he took charge.
Thomas again for three. He's when they go down and talk at the Hall of Fame for street shooters, his name.
Scoring 16 of his 33 points in the last 7 minutes, Thomas, who was later named Finals MVP, propelled the Pistons to victory and set the stage for a second straight NBA title.
He was going to make it to the top because he was a true warrior out on the court and had a run at point guard for about 4 years. It could have been some of the best point guard play in the history of the NBA.
But the day after clinching the title, a Detroit TV station reported that a number of personal checks signed by Thomas had been subpoenaed by an investigation into illegal sports gambling.
I remember talking to him and saying, Isiah, I have to write a story about these rumors. And he was saying, well, why would you ever do that? These are rumors. It always stuck with me that this story broke about Isiah right after the championship, and I think that is really sad.
One of 20 indicted on charges of racketeering and money laundering involving at least $6 million was Emmett Denha, a close friend of Thomas. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison. A Michigan-based U.S. attorney assigned to the case said Thomas was never a target of its investigation.
I want all of you to know I never do anything to let this city or you people down. Thank you.
Nearly 7 years later, a book entitled Money Players cited 6 unidentified sources that claimed Thomas lost as much as $1 million in high-stakes dice games run by members of organized crime.
They were false attacks, and they were all lies. But understanding who I am in the world of sports and entertainment, that's part of the game. It hurts, but how can you fight it?
He was associated with people he shouldn't have been. And even if you don't do anything, their actions kind of stick on you. Whether he did it or not, some things stuck to Isiah Thomas.
Playing in his 5th All-Star game from the Detroit Pistons, number 11, Isiah Thomas.
Isiah all the way, Isiah Thomas.
How does it feel to be the greatest basketball player in the world for another day?
Unreal.
I'm so proud of you, son. I'm so proud of you. Don't cry, be happy.
Winning his 2nd All-Star Game MVP in 1986, Isiah Thomas enjoyed widespread popularity. Yet he never quite reached the transcendent heights shared by the very few.
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan were the people that the league presented as the individuals who vaulted the NBA into prominence. And I think he resented the fact that he was not included in that group.
It's very important to him to be on that plateau with those guys. And absolutely, he wanted to measure up in games the way those guys did.
Isiah's feelings toward a rookie named Jordan were questioned after the 1985 All-Star Game. He was accused of leading a freeze-out of Jordan, who shot 2 for 9.
When Michael Jordan came to All-Star Weekend that week, he had a lot of jewelry on. He had his Nike paraphernalia on. There was a feeling, I think, among some that Michael was trying to be bigger than the other players there.
And Magic played the pass to Michael Jordan, and Isiah Thomas took it himself.
If there's one thing that I'm not good at is playing politics and being political. Every time that he's talked about it and that I've talked about it, we both said that there was nothing to it.
Isiah was almost a legendary figure in Chicago. There was some resentments on Thomas's part because here was this guy stepping into his town. Here's this guy coming and stealing my city.
Tension between Thomas and Jordan increased as the Bulls lost 3 straight playoffs to the Bad Boys from 1988 to 1990.
Jordan comes in and he wants to win championships, but he can't. Who's standing in the way? Isiah Thomas. And then they devised the Jordan rules, and it got ugly.
Michael on the move to the hoop. He is necktied. Michael Jordan goes down hard, and he comes up ready to swing.
And Jordan found himself on the floor. Jordan was hurt. and Isiah was the one standing above him.
In 1991, when the Bulls were about to dispose of Detroit in the playoffs, Thomas organized a walkout.
They were insulted a way that they had been treated by Chicago's players, some of the things that had been said. So I went to Isiah, as I recall, and said, don't do this, you'll regret it.
Pistons wasting no time in getting out of here. They left the bench, although there's 7 and 9, 10 seconds remaining. The Pistons just left.
Anybody that didn't shake their hands, whether it be Isiah or whoever else on the team, it's a personal decision for them. We're all men. You have to make decisions. You have to live with them.
4 months later, when the selections for the U.S. Olympic Dream Team were announced, Thomas was not among them. Feeling he was the victim of a freeze-out, the 9-time All-Star claimed foul play.
There's been much speculation about who will play and who won't, and there's some controversy attached to it as well.
The rules always changed for me. They wanted people who had won championships. At that time, there was only 2 people on that team who had won more championships than myself. I've been around sports long enough to know that there's a committee that selects, and then there's another group of people in the back room that selects.
Jordan played a big role in keeping Isiah off that team. Michael never specifically said, I don't want Isiah Thomas on the team. He was shown a list of who was on the team, and when Isiah Thomas's name initially was on one of those lists, he didn't want to play.
I talked to Isiah about the aspect he wasn't on the team, and he was not comfortable with it. I'm sure he is very hurt.
That affected him a lot more than he would ever tell anybody. You know, you hope for him that things that he may have done or said won't affect how people view him, because it's about what he did on the court.
He felt that he not only belonged, but should have been starting on that team. And so, really for the first time, someone said, you're not a Magic, you're not a Bird, you're not a Jordan, you're not even a John Stockton.
That November, Thomas scored 44 points against Stockton, the point guard who had been named to the Olympic team over him. The next time the Pistons met the Jazz, Stockton's enforcer and fellow Dream Teamer Karl Malone exacted what some saw as retaliation.
I think Karl Malone was trying to send a message to Isiah. It was a brutal, terrible way to send a message.
Down it goes. Isiah Thomas hurt badly.
The flagrant foul cost Malone $10,000 and a 1-game suspension. Thomas paid with 40 stitches over his left eye. This was injury added to insult. A month earlier, the Bulls' Scottie Pippen labeled the Pistons guard a cheap shot artist and declared he wouldn't play in the Dream Team if Thomas was added to the roster.
In some ways, that 92 snub may have validated the feeling Isiah Thomas came with at the very beginning. Someone was trying to steal something that belonged to him. Maybe those phantoms that he thought were out there to get him, you can say that they were illusory, but his not being on the 92 Olympic team would suggest that they were real.
Dawkins with a steal. Took it from Isiah.
By the early 1990s, age and injury had taken its toll on Isiah's bad boys, leaving them with more bark than bite. In 1993, they slipped below 500. The following April, the wheels came off. Thomas suffered an Achilles tear, and the Pistons finished with just 20 wins. Thomas called it quits with a career average of 19 points and 9 assists.
I will be a Piston for my entire career. I'm also able to announce that I will be a Piston for the rest of my life.
Thomas had reached an agreement with owner Bill Davidson in January of 1994 to work in the team's front office upon his retirement. But soon after the season ended, things changed.
There's a philosophical difference, maybe caused by over-aggression, but we just parted ways.
Isiah didn't have patience. I think Isiah has never had patience. He's always wanted to get to the top immediately.
Later that May, Thomas found a new basketball home. As vice president and general manager of the Toronto Raptors, he also received a piece of the new franchise.
We thought that we would be in Detroit. We had no idea that, we would end up spending the rest of our lives here in Toronto.
He drafted Damon Stoudemire, and that was those were the two guys. Point guard, mentor, student. And you could see him connecting with a guy like Damon on a different level that a lot of general managers at that point didn't.
And I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to kiss you. Because I love you.
Isiah's love affair in Toronto fell on hard times when he differed with head coach Brendan Malone.
Isiah wanted to develop kids. They play Orlando, and they're getting killed. And Brendan's got on the court 5 kids who just probably can't play in the league. But he's teaching, you can see him teaching Isiah. He's trying to show Isiah, look, man, this is what you gave me.
Damon Stoudemire came up to me at the end of the Milwaukee game, and I said, are we supposed to be losing games? Because he's saying, why are these guys playing?
He likes being Isiah. He burned bridges with a lot of people in the boardroom, and I think that's because he is very headstrong. He's very dominant. I want this to happen my way.
Frustrated by his inability to sway fellow ownership in the direction he wanted, Thomas vacated his post and sold his share of the team in November of 1997. While working as an NBA analyst for NBC, he purchased the Continental Basketball Association 2 years later for $10 million.
Isiah had this huge dream. He thought that the NBA would see that he was in charge of it and make it sort of like minor league basketball. The NBA and the CBA would be almost one.
Isiah promised the CBA owners that they were going to be the Microsoft of basketball. He actually told them that they would multiply the league by geometric proportions, and he was going to put together a whole package of sponsors. Instead of having the local car dealer, they were going to have Ford Motor Company as a sponsor.
And less than a year into it, he says, now, why am I running this league and making road trips to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and to Sioux Falls? I've got a $5 million NBA coaching job.
I would like to introduce our next head coach, Isiah Thomas, and just say that it's great to have him back here in Indiana.
In July of 2000, Thomas signed a $20 million 4-year contract to coach the Indiana Pacers. In the process, he began pulling the cord on the CBA. In February of 2001, he suspended play, and 15 days later, the league was forced into bankruptcy.
Isiah personally killed the CBA. These owners loved what they were doing, and you should hear the language they use now in reference to Isiah Thomas.
The CBA was borderline bankruptcy then, so the only way that I saw that it could really survive was as a single entity. But once the NBA decided that they wanted to compete in the minor leagues against the CBA, the game's over.
If we get pressure in the backcourt, Jay Rose, if we get pressure in the backcourt, you can come up, help bring it up.
I think he's always looking for the ultimate situation for him, and I don't think he knows what it would be if he got it. I think he's always seeking, searching, climbing the mountain.
As Isiah Thomas seeks new vistas, he continues to enjoy peace at home with his wife Lynn and their 2 children. Meanwhile, in October of 2000, Thomas entered the Basketball Hall of Fame, fulfilling a dream that began half a lifetime ago on Chicago's West Side.
My honor, my privilege to introduce Isiah Thomas.
I stand here before you tonight as the proud son of Mary Thomas. She would sit us down on meeting nights and tell us how she fought hard for us to grow up to be men and to have a fair chance and a fair shot.
He went back, walking through the neighborhood, and one of the old guys was sitting on a stoop, and Isiah remembered him, and they shook hands, and he said, "You made it, Isiah. You made it out of here, didn't you?" And Isiah smiled and said, "Yeah."
He's got all this intelligence. He's got some anger. He understands the world. He's street smart. So the combination of all of these aspects of his personality make him a tremendously unique individual.
Isiah Thomas was once asked about the hit TV series Survivor, which was filmed in the Outback and other dangerous places. He smiled and said, if they want a real test of survival, they ought to drop them in the west side of Chicago. You should know, Isiah Thomas was the ultimate survivor. For SportsCentury, I'm Chris Fowler.